environment section, we regulate both environment and the social affairs activities or aspects within the oil and gas sector. Our main aim of regulating this sector is first of all to ensure that we are in line with Objective 9 of the National Oil and Gas Policy that ensures that oil and gas activities are undertaken in such a manner that does not negatively affect or rather conserves biodiversity and environment. So we therefore promote coexistence of both the oil activities and the environment. While regulating this, both the environment and social aspects, we ensure that all oil companies or oil activities that are undertaken both by their contractors but also the oil companies themselves are undertaken in a manner that is compliant to the environmental laws and the social laws within the country, but also taking into care the international best practice. The PAU and as the government of Uganda, we have ensured that environment and social protection is one of the things that we look up to. It's really up there, and we've done this through a number of environmental laws that have been put in place. We've worked together with the partners. For example, the National Environment Act has actually been updated. We now have a new act of 2019 which replaced the one of 1995, and one of it was to ensure that one of the objectives was to ensure that the oil and gas aspects are actually embedded into the act. As you may all appreciate that the first commercial discovery in this country was actually in 2006, and yet the National Environment Act at the time that existed was of 1995. Hence, most of the environmental laws and regulations had not actually been embedded within the law as it was being crafted back then in the 1990s. But currently we have the new law, the National Environment Act 2019, that takes care of not only oil and gas, but sound chemical management and also climate change. We have the Petroleum Waste Management regulations that have been put in place to ensure that the sector is well regulated, especially the petroleum waste that we're getting out of the drilling fluids and the drill cuttings. In the exploration phase, we were faced with the challenge of how to dispose of the waste that had been generated, and most of us saw that we first took a precautionary measure of storing these wastes in a certain place in, I think, 4 consolidation areas within the Alberton Graben, and then later on the very first hazardous world-class facility actually was put up in the country, and it's found in Yamasoga, but we also have other facilities. One is in Nakasongola that took on this waste, and today we have the Petroleum Waste Management regulations that will now help us to ensure that these are taken on seamlessly. Many management tools have been developed within the country. The Strategic Environment Assessment was developed in 2013. We have the Alberton Graben Monitoring Plan that was also developed and currently is under review to enable it to be updated. We have operational guidelines within the wildlife areas that have been developed. Environmental sensitivity atlases have been developed for Maction Falls National Park, Semliki National Park, but also for the entire Alberton Graben. And these are tools that help us to actually ensure that environment and social protection is undertaken. Not forgetting the environmental and social impact assessments that are undertaken before any project actually occurs. And majorly these have been undertaken for all projects, including the major projects we are moving into Tilenga, ECOP, and Kingfisher. I must say that Kingfisher and Tilenga, together with ECOP, we held their public hearings and people gave their views. These were incorporated into the final ESIS, and now we have NEMA has actually approved Tilenga and Kingfisher. We are awaiting the approval for also the ECOP and the Tilenga feeder. Quite a number of benefits have been actually would I say achieved, not only on the environment but also on the social side. On the environment, I've already mentioned that we now have waste management regulations. The regulations have been updated. We have oil spill regulations being developed, but also we have had facilities coming up. This country never had a hazardous management facility. To date, we actually have this. We've also achieved the fact that technology, we are now embracing new technology. During the seismic surveys, previously they would first of all use nodes that had cables on them when they are doing seismic. Today we use the cableless technology, and this has been quite an achievement within the sector. On the social side, we have seen a lot of improvement, I must say, within the last 5 years. We are having 600 kilometers of roads being tarmacked within the Alberton Graben, and more will be tarmacked when we move down to developed into the ECOP districts. We are seeing improvement of housing. People, if you went there a few years ago and you see the houses today that are there, the banking sector, look in the economy within Hoima, almost every bank has opened up a branch in that area, and that shows that the economy is actually coming. We are having social livelihoods of people improving, because right now the nutrition of people has actually improved because of the different programs within the oil and gas sector. When we look at the education, we have improved the lives of teachers and the students. Our schools have been renovated, and when you go down to Buhuka, this is a hard to reach area, I must say, and through the corporate social responsibility, this place, you find that the company is able to top up the salaries for nurses, but also top up the salaries for the teachers. What does this mean? That the teachers are more available and they are more stable in the job. Also, go to the health centers, you will actually find these particular people. We have improved water schemes that are within this area. People are now able to get better water. We have had better access. If you went to Buhuka 10 years ago, you would actually have to be trekking down a hill or up a hill. But today we have a well-tarmacked road that actually goes up to where the communities are. In the next 5 years, as we actually move on as the PAU, I think our outlook is actually brighter. We have now, just as I mentioned, we have most of the legislation in place. I say we are ready for production. We have undertaken most of the ESIAs, and the PAU, I must commend that we have staffed up our people. Our people are well trained, so we don't expect to see catastrophes within the environment. We expect to see improved livelihoods within the social people. We expect to see more acceptance of the projects within the area, but also we expect to see conservation or a net gain within the biodiversity. We don't expect to actually lose our biodiversity.